Okay, so my later classes, just letting you know, today is October the 15th. It is Monday. My morning classes, I get to be here. My afternoon, I don't. I have to go to a workshop. So with that being said, that's kind of why I am videoing this so early today. We're on this math workshop, kind of looking at it. And yes, like right when you look at it, I personally see what's wrong with it. With number 1 here. But I will say, looking at a math problem and comparing it to words sometimes it's not as easy. Now, what I do, I kind of look through this. Whoops, 1 second. It says, Stephen is teaching his younger brother to divide using long division. His brother is solving the problem below. And he's got all his math. They do a lot of questions like this. Where it's not exactly the answer or what is the answer. They ask you what did they do right or wrong. It's weird. I don't know. Which of the following explains whether Stephen is teaching his brother correctly? What do y'all think it is? B is right. Here is why. Stephen's solution is incorrect, which is that is right. The 1 of his answer is incorrectly placed in the thousands instead of the hundreds. So, all that means is, if you were to work it out, and you wouldn't even really need to work out the whole thing to get this answer, but 12 goes into 12 one time. And that is the hundreds column. And, whoops, as you can tell. And they might even try to trick you sometimes on these questions, and maybe they put, like, down here, maybe they put tens column. And then maybe letter C says hundreds. Like, be very careful and picky that you're getting the one that you want, the right answer. So letter B is that answer. Good job. And number 2, what kind of math is that? Subtraction. Yes. I would say one thing on this is knowing that coupons help the money go down. So if it was $3.79 and you are taking away $2.94, the coupon is saving you 85 cents. Yes. Listen. Watch the words. Next time it might be there is a coupon and how much money is it off. What I've also started doing with Math Workshop, I think Math Workshop test kind of took some of you for a loop last 9 weeks because it was the first one we'd ever done. So, what I've done is labeled, if you'll notice, in my silly handwriting, I have labeled the topics. So, like, the first topic on the 9 weeks test, this 9 weeks will be operations. It'll just be decimals and fractions, like basic problems, sum, scantron maybe. And then it will be fractions. It'll, add, subtract, multiply, divide. If you'll notice on the back, we kind of get into a little review of 5th grade area perimeter and quadrilaterals, like the shapes. We'll do a little comparing fractions, which one's bigger and smaller. And then some more of the shapes with geometry. So what I've done is try to label the topics so you know what is on the Math Workshop test. Okay? It won't be till the end of the 9 weeks, which is officially almost Christmas time. But put this right now, clip it behind Math Workshop. Literally click it behind Math Workshop. That way you have it tomorrow. If I gave you one today, I shouldn't have to give you one tomorrow. Click it behind Math Workshop. Okay, so today we are starting with integers. And integers are the numbers on the number line. It is all the whole numbers. So if you're literally looking at the number line above the TV or above the screen, the blue one, blue and white one, it is all the negatives, all the positives, and zero. We will be throwing in a fancy word called rational numbers with it also, which is like your fractions and your decimals. A little bit. Not a ton of them, but a few of them. Yes?
You know, I found out that when you're counting decimals, integers, it's like when you're counting backwards, like 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, then 0, and do 1 and 0. I read that when you're counting in integers, you're actually counting backwards.
Yeah, you are kind of counting backwards. Yes. The first thing that, and you're right with numbers, the first thing you got to do is be able to create a number line. So, I'm going to point out a few things, even though you might already know these things. Integers are always the first of what I call the topics I'm not sure if you know about. I kind of know fractions and things those 5th grade teachers covered, but integers are new stuff for a lot of us, okay? The progression of numbers that are taught start out back in kindergarten and 1st grade, which is your boring whole numbers. You do numbers like 1 and 5. Well, that's because, honestly, those teachers can use what's called manipulatives, or what I call plastic teddy bears, and you can sit there and manipulate them on your desk. If they want you to add it, they want you to add 1 and 5, and they literally have you move them, and you can touch them, and you can see that 1 plus 5 is 6. Then they throw in the number 0. Well, 0 is kind of hard to understand sometimes because you can't touch 0. If you have nothing, you can't touch it. But at least they can start saying, well, if you had 5 and I took all 5 away, how many do you have left? And everybody goes, oh, nothing. Okay, well, that is 0. Okay. Now what we got to do is start understanding negative numbers and integers and where they are. First off, they are on the left of the number line. Okay? Notice that part. They're on the left. You've got to be able to create number lines. And that's going to be a biggie, just being able to write them. Okay? You have to have a 0 in between the two sets. 0 is between all the positives and all the negatives. Okay? Couple other things, just to kind of get the idea behind it. The reason they wait until about 5th and 6th grade to really start talking about negative numbers is I think they think your brains can kind of understand it or grasp it a little better. The way I think of it is this. If I have $2 in my pocket, I have $2, then that means I am right here at basically positive 2. I have $2. Good to go. Okay? But if I owe you $2, you think about it. I owe you $2. I'm back here at negative 2. I'm owing someone money. It's like I got a bill for you, okay? I got to pay it. That is negative amounts of money when you're owing someone something, okay? A lot of you do football. You might know if the football announcer or whoever says you have a 10-yard loss. Well, loss means, in my brain, I say you went backwards. You got pushed backwards. You went backwards down the field. A 10-yard loss is going to be negative 10. Well, if you got to go 10 yards the correct way, then it's going to be a positive 10. Kind of weird. Some of you have maybe even experienced, I haven't really experienced it, but temperatures that are below 0. You hear negative 2 or things that are below 0. That is the negative numbers down here. Below freezing, like negative, okay? Another one some of you might have experienced is swimming or hearing below, if you've ever heard below sea level or below, you are like, here's the earth, here's the ground, and you're below it. If you're swimming down here in the ocean, you're down, you're negative. So there's many different instances, there we go, that we need to kind of understand negative numbers. Banking is a big one. Like a lot of times, y'all know we might owe the lunchroom money. I probably owe the lunchroom money today. Negative. And you get the lovely pink letters, and it says I'm negative $5. Well, you're negative. You owe them $5. And that's why we got to kind of understand negative numbers, is they are all around us. They're everywhere. Yes.
You know, the negative numbers are kind of helpful because they let you know what's happening. Because like on the games, it's saying that it's taking away like negative negative items. That means it's going to take away my
yeah. Yeah, and negative is like take away. Yes, it's going to take it from you. And I don't do much gaming, so that I know it's out there. I mean, you see it on those kind of things. I just didn't think about it, to be honest. I think of losing points. I'm trying to think of what else. Yes. Yes. Yeah. Yes. Yes. And we are not even adding and subtracting officially yet with these things. We'll get there, but not yet. Not yet. Yes.
I have two questions. If you have $8, you owe someone $8, would you be at 0?
Yes. Yes. Yeah, good question. So if you have $8, but you owe someone $8, when you pay them that $8, you're back at nothing. You're back at 0. Yeah. Uh-huh.
And also a deduction counts negative.
Say it again.
Deductions, that counts negative.
Deductions. I mean, it's taking money from you. Yes. A deduction is taking money from you. Yeah. We'll talk about withdrawals. Some of you have heard about a withdrawal from a bank, like going to your checking account and taking a withdrawal. Deposit is putting it in. Yep, it's plus. Golf. If you know anything about golf is all based on negative numbers. In fact, you win the game. Usually, if you are one of the big professionals, you are like -5 or -10 or -12. That means you're like 12 shots better than the normal person. So you want to be in the negative in golf. Now in football, you don't want to be in the negative. So that's another thing, is understanding what that person is talking about. Listen, here's a hint. You need to all listen to this. If we're ever doing a weird question and you don't understand the sport, don't let that make your bad grade. Talk to me. Say, Ms. Donovan, I don't understand what this question's saying, and I will try to explain it, where you'll understand it. Because sometimes we have done some weird questions that kids didn't get. Like, maybe it's, I don't know, football or whatever, and you don't get it. Talk to me. It's okay. Yes?
Isn't, golf where you hit it, the more you hit it, is the worse?
Yes. Because you're getting the more shots, the worse. Yes. Yeah. Golf is kind of the opposite of everything else in a weird way. Yes?
I know I'm asking a lot of questions, but
That's okay.
I don't think no might answer this question, but isn't that side is the positives, right?
Yep.
And that side is the negatives.
Yes.
Isn't the 0 neither one of them?
Yes. We're getting ready to talk about that right now. We got it. Okay, so our positive numbers. Here we go. All the numbers greater than 0. And they go to the right of the number line. So these are all the positives if you're wanting to label it. And we might ask questions about is it to the right or the left and those kind of things. Numbers greater than 0, that's the key. Okay, our negative numbers are less than 0. I'm just going to write less than 0. And they go to the left on the number line. Okay. And then 0 is kind of the oddball. He's kind of sticking in the middle there. And he is neither, you could say not, but he is neither positive or negative.
That was the question I asked.
Yes, that's why I was like, 1 second. Yes, it is not either one. Seems like it'd be one, but it is not positive or negative. No, it's neither one. And don't say both. Listen, it is neither one. It's kind of weird. It's like its own little world.
It's like in
Yes.
That's why I said. That's why they said.
instead of just saying 0, they say like a special group.
It's nope. It's just 0.
That's why they say.
Thank goodness. Thank goodness.
That's why they say the zero's not a number.
It is an integer. So they call it, like, its fancy name is an integer. But no, it's not negative or positive.
Is it just there to separate?
Just kind of to separate them, yeah. But I mean, it has a meaning of you have nothing, right? If you think about it. Yes.
It's just
Right, Mary. Uh-huh.
basically 0 is like a go, like it's there, but there's nothing there.
True. True. Yes. Uh-huh.
If you were to draw, like, did writing a number line on this paper, like, expense first and
Uh-huh.
would you count off if you forgot to put the 0?
Yes. 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 We're going to talk about that in a few minutes about making the number lines. On integers, we're going to include positive and negative. Whole numbers. I'm going to shorten it with the number sign. And 0. So yes, if you forget the 0, we unfortunately have to take off points. Okay. This Friday on the quiz, there'll be some questions about these things. Not exactly like matching definitions, but more like fill in the blank type stuff. Kind of like what we're getting ready to do right now. Okay.
Sort that up, but just write the positive symbol and the negative symbol. Positive symbol is going to look like a plus sign.
Yes. Yes. Okay. And usually for positive, if you'll notice, they don't even put a symbol. They don't even put the plus.
Yeah.
But definitely on negative. Definitely on negative.
I get why they put that.
So here we go. Now, and these are just sentences. You got to kind of think about what they're saying or what they're asking. Numbers to the left of the 0 are always negative. Numbers to the right of 0 are always positive. A positive number is always blank than a negative number.
Greater.
Greater than, yes. Okay, 0 is neither positive or negative. And you could flip-flop those. It wouldn't matter. You could put negative or positive. It doesn't matter. Okay, here's a weird one. 0 is blank than all negative numbers.
It's greater.
Now think about it. 0's here. Here's all your negatives.
Greater.
Greater than, yes.
That's what I said.
Okay. And I want you to think about this. Like, as you go across the number line this way, it gets bigger. Even though the negative numbers are getting smaller, like, this is getting bigger, bigger, bigger. And when you're going that way, it's getting smaller. A negative number is always blank than a positive number. Less than, yes. And they'll try to, like, they'll mix up the sentences and things like that. Whoops, sorry I didn't show you. There's your sentences. We should be able to kind of look at it, think about it, and figure out what words go into sentences. Yes? It goes on forever. So think about, like, I know that my blue number line, and I know I'm kind of being silly with you guys, but for my video kids, I realize that my blue number line on the wall only goes 20 to negative 20. But I need you to imagine it going on forever. And if you think about it, like we hear the word like millionaires or whatever, billionaires, those numbers are out there. Your teacher just doesn't glue them to the wall, I guess, okay? Well, if you think about it, negative world, okay? There are people out there like the company Sears. Sears is millions of dollars in debt right now. They're actually talking about closing. And the company Sears is in negatives way in the millions. We don't think about that because we don't normally deal with it, but it's out there. It's weird. I mean, it's out there. Okay? Yes?
So, couldn't you just put like an infinity?
It is kind of like infinity, yes, because it goes on forever. If you'll notice, on like this number line, what's on the ends of it?
10.
Arrows. It's because they go on forever. I'll admit, mine on the wall, well, that one does have an arrow, surprisingly, but the arrow is kind of cut off on the positive end. It goes on forever. So it's kind of odd. And you've got to work above 20, I'm not going to lie. Or even negative 20.
Last year, my fifth grade teacher kind of pushed me about integers.
Yeah.
Because I just wanted me to get ready for it.
So here we go. First, these are the directions for this first section. We're writing an integer for each situation. A lot of times they'll be called real-world situations or real-world examples. All it is they want you to tell me, is it positive or negative and a number? Listen, positive or negative and a number. So a 10-yard loss. Negative what? Give me a number. Negative 10. I need like positive or negative and a number. So when you see these directions, this is what you're doing, guys. Okay, number 2, 4 inches above normal. Positive 4. Now you can put 4 or you can put plus 4. Just don't put negative.
Did you know that when it says something about like a loss or you paid for something, that's going to say that means it's going to decrease.
That's right.
Yours decreases and positive numbers increase.
That is right. That is right. And we'll get out a whole list before the week's over with some fancy words, I guess. Kevin brought cupcakes for everyone at lunch. He had 3 left over. Write an integer, so we got to know that word, to represent the number of cupcakes left over. So what's left over? Positive 3. You got it. 3 are left over, so it's a plus 3. Integer just meaning number on a number line. Okay, now going into the next part, this is where we're going to learn to graph them. And as the teacher, I have to be kind of picky or whatever you want to call it. Here we go. I need you to kind of just get with me on the first part of this. We're going to graph them, and you have to be able to create a number line. The first thing you're going to want to do is look at what numbers you're working with. So right here, if I look at all 4 or 5 of these numbers, I guess it's 5, they're wanting me to graph, and I want you to look at from how far negative to how far positive. So I need to go from at least negative 8 which is really, I probably need to show negative 9, okay? So negative 8, negative 9, all the way to positive 5, or almost 6. So when I make this number line, okay, I'm going to be honest, I'm going to kind of extend it. I'm going to kind of make it a little longer. And the first thing you want to do is, how far negative should we go? Negative, and I'm going to start with negative 9. You really want to go at least one past whatever the number is. And I need to go all the way to about 6. So here I go. Negative 9. Notice which way the numbers go. Negative 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, okay, I realize this is not that easy. You'll see I drug out a pencil. I need you to be able to do this, though. You have to be able to, number the numbers. Then keep going. I'm going to go all the way to about 6 because of that 5.5. Uh-huh.
You kind of also subtracting, but adding at the same time.
Yes. Yes. And listen, if you need to extend it to the right also, you can. I'm just kind of, I didn't need any more, so I just kind of stopped there. Okay.
So the ends don't have to be the same?
No, they don't have, good question. They do not have to be the same on each end. Just make sure you go at least, try to go one past at least whatever you're going to grab. Now, I have to grade, did you make the number line correctly? So do you have the negatives on this, on the right, on the correct side? Do you have the positives on the correct side? And do you have 0? Now, I have to also grade, it takes a lot of time, I'm not going to lie, all these points. So I start out by putting the easy ones. I'm going to put that 0, and listen, if the number's there, you don't have to write it. I know that that point stands for 0. I'm good to go on that one. And I usually do the easy ones first. I know 3 is positive. It's going to be right there. It has a 3. It tells me what number that dot stands for. Okay, negative 8 even. Negative 8 is way down here, but there is a number there to represent it. So I'm good on that one. The 2 odd ones are officially rational numbers, but we needed to get in there a little decimal and fraction stuff, okay? Yes? If you need to. Here we go. 5.5 would be between...
That's going to be in between 5 and 4. The negative 5 and 4.
Okay, now wait a minute. This is 5.5. And think about it as $5.50. Are you closer to 5 or 6? Like you're in the middle, right?
Oh, yeah.
I kind of said it wrong. But you're between 5 and a little more.
I meant to say 5.
6, yes. Now, when you put that dot, there's not a number there. So I need you to write 5.5. Because without it, I don't know what that dot means. And I don't really care if you write it on the top or the bottom. I just wrote it on the top because I had more space. Now we need to do negative 2 and 1/4.
Wow.
Now, once you think about it, you're at negative 2 and a little bit more, right? 1/4 is like you have one slice of pizza out of 4, right? So you've made it to negative 2 and a little bit more. Somewhere right there between negative 2 and 3. Negative 2 and 1/4. It's odd, but you got to have them, I'm going to be looking. Did you get it between negative 2 and 3 or negative 1 and 2? Okay, let's do the next one. Here we go. Graphing on the number line. Oh, yes. The fractions in between these numbers are there. We just usually don't put them on the number line on the wall. That's all. Yes?
How do you know how many you like to go over? But is it how many numbers are on the things?
Okay, so like I went to negative 2 because of that negative 2.
No, it's like you had 6 spaces. How do you
Oh, how far? Okay. All I'm doing is this. Like, if my last positive number is 5.5, go at least one past it. Does that make sense? So, like, this was -8 was my furthest negative. I went one past it. So what I do is, like, going into number 2 here, I know this sounds goofy, but I find my smallest, or what is my most negative number on here? Now, there's -6, but what about that one?
11.
-11, right? It's further down. So I need it to start way down here at least -11 and go all the way to positive what? 3 at least, but really 4. So I'm kind of evaluating the numbers I'm working with before I create the number line. So I got -11, and I'll admit this isn't easy, but we have to do it. -8. I need to go to at least 4. 1. I think they're getting swallowed by my numbers, if you know the truth. They're there, and I was noticing the 8 didn't. I think they're getting swallowed with my pencil. And I hate to use pencil for the projector purposes, maybe. Doesn't really help. But it's just, that way I can still erase. Okay, now I'm going to graph those integers and rational numbers. Here we go. I'm going to put 3 right there, because it is a positive 3. -6. There's -4. Okay. -10.75 should be between what?
10 and 11.
Say it again.
10
10,
and 11.
11, you got it.
Also, can I go to the
If you need to. Okay, -10 to -11. Somewhere in there, and then label it, guys. You know what that dot stands for. And then 1 7/8 is like having one pizza and extra. 1 and a little bit more. So think about it this way. Go to +1 and some more. To the right.
That's gonna be a little complicated.
Well, think about, like, anytime there's a little more, if it's positive, go to the right. And then if it's negative, if it's a little more, go to the left. Kind of have to think about what is the money amount, or what is the amount they're talking about. Yes?
So you rounded the 10.75 to 11, right?
I mean, not officially, it's, my point for -10.75 is right there, between -10 and -11. But I did finish my number line with that -11. Yeah, like you could even go to -12. It doesn't matter. You just want to at least have one number past whatever that last dot is on that number line. Sorry, my allergies are like messing me up.
And if they was only went through 11, could it ever be 11 and I got behind the, well, in front of the 11? Or does it
Yeah.
have to be
Like here? Or
like in front of the 11?
like here? Now you can keep numbering if you want. Yeah. If you want to keep going, you can. Okay? Yes. Yes.
Would there ever be numbers that not realized?
Like that you need to put in order?
No, like that they had already
Oh, there might be. Yeah.
put the one that were
Like from left to right. They might. This one is the odd one because you need to go, and I'll admit, you need to go all the way from -2 to 20.
And you have to write small.
And you got to write small, and I'm going to start with -3, and I'm going to go all the way to 20. It's not easy, I'm not going to lie. Don't forget your 0. Ooh, a little crazy there. Did a little bit better. My last class, I didn't have a space like that, but that's okay. It happens. That's why we kind of erased. Hopefully we wouldn't do one that big on a test or a quiz. That was just kind of, we probably should have done something a little less. Okay, I'm going to put some dots now. Here we go. Points. I'm going to put a point at 20. I'm going to put a point at 15. 8.5 is at 8 and a little more. So it's got to be between 8 and 9. 2.2 is 2 and a little more. 2.2 is 2 and a little more. And then -2. Make sure you get them all. That is one of the biggies on doing number lines, is just forgetting one. Usually we do like each one's 2 points or something, but it's an easy 2 points. You just don't want to skip any. Yes?
I forget what it
Okay. Now, right here, listen, is the homework, but I'll be honest, we kind of ran it off on the back also, okay? So, if you flip it over, you will see the exact homework, okay? Now, it is not hard, guys, because you've already done most of this. How to do it. So, the same directions. Write an integer for the situation. This part, the graphing, I will admit, you're going to need a piece of notebook paper. It is easier on notebook paper because it's wider, and you can make longer number lines. Yes?
That was my question.
Yes, I would totally use notebook paper. And then it just goes down into the same thing. Okay? So, you may go for it. You're doing the ones on the back here. We even gave you a copy of it, so there was no... That way you can do it at lunch, warrior time. There's no excuses. So, okay, go for it. Thank you. Tomorrow I'm checking to see if you finished it or not. Thank you, thank you.